Good day, CCF family. Welcome to Sunday FastTrack, where you ask real-life questions and we give you biblical truths. I'm Isa Valencia from Elevate Youth Ministry, and we're here with our speaker, Brother Paul Tanchi, to answer some of your questions. Good day, Brother Paul. Happy Youth Month.
Yeah.
And thank you for your message about living out the truth and passing it on. So how are you?
That's great. It's a privilege to be here. It's nice to meet you, Isa. And I'm glad that we're celebrating and focusing on the youth for this month.
Okay, for our first question. So what's a practical way we can correct those older than us or in a higher position than us?
Yeah, I think, in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12, it says not to let anyone look down on your youthfulness. And I like the flip side of it, which says, you focus on your speech, your conduct, your faith, love, purity. So I believe the best way to have impact with people that are older than us is by living out what it means to be a real Christian. So showing what a Christian is and living those aspects of life gives you an opportunity to ask questions. So if I were to correct an older person, I wouldn't begin by just pointing out what was wrong. I would begin by trying to engage them, but drawing them out. I study what Jesus did. He would ask questions. And I think through those questions, hopefully, it could help the people who are more mature than you or older than you see an aspect of your life or their life that may need to be tweaked. But be a good example so that you have, that inroad into their life.
Thank you. Yes, come from a place of love, like Christ. Okay, for our second question, what if those we correct don't listen to us? Do we just keep quiet to keep the peace, or do we cancel them altogether?
I think, prayer is so important. So sometimes we try to change people's minds by repeating ourselves and we keep going back and almost pleading or trying to convince them. I think once you've communicated clearly what you feel is the heart of what they needed to hear, let's say they're doing something that's wrong, then I would just entrust them to the Lord and pray for them. And if opportunity comes back up organically, then you can bring it up again. But at a certain point, if a person's mind is so set, you really need to let God do the work in their heart or in their life. But you can also use creative channels, like find out if you're talking about your parents or people that are authority, find people who have influence in their life. And they can also be a channel that God uses to speak truth into their life. So I think as a young person, there's many things you can do, from prayer, from being an example, from voicing what really the concern is when there's opportunity, to also channeling through people that can speak into the older person's life.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, for our last question, it says in 2 Timothy 2:4, no soldier in active service entangles himself in the affairs of everyday life. So does this mean we are not to be concerned with our everyday needs or pay attention to our everyday concerns?
I think that if you look at that verse, the real focus there is this world has a way of entangling us when it becomes more important than Christ. And that's why even in 2 Timothy 3, he says men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, lovers of pleasure. And that's where things get very complicated. But we have to still pay for the electric bill. We have to be able to put food on the table. So we still have to work. It's not saying that you just separate yourself from all of that. But it's like, as you do all of that, make sure Jesus is front and center. Like Matthew 6:33, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. We get our priorities mixed up when we have misdirected love, when things of this world become more important to us, then it entangles us. But it's, he also says, let him who doesn't work not eat. So we do need to still do the everyday things that we need to do, whether it be our studies or work or take care of our family, but just make sure Christ is front and center. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you so much, Brother Paul, for answering our questions. This October, we are celebrating Youth Month. It is in our church's heart to empower the next generation to win the nation through our kids ministry, Next Gen, and our youth ministry, Elevate. Make an impact and be part of this movement of building a Christ-driven young generation. You are only young once. So whatever generation you are in, step out in faith and make an impact and empower the youth today. That's it for CCF Sunday Fast Track. God bless.
God bless.